Perfect.
All right, recording has started.
Thank you. Well, welcome to our session. We're excited. This is the first one we're doing of this sort with the winter breakout session. So welcome. My name is Karen Archibee, and I'm an academic planning coordinator within the Division of Extended Learning. Lisa, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Lisa Brancato. I'm also an academic planning coordinator in the Division of Extended Learning, and I'm working along with Karen and Robin on the microcredential.
And we also have Robin on the call. She's driving though, so for safety purposes, I'm just going to introduce her. She's a program manager within our Division of Extended Learning, and she manages the non-credit microcredentials, where I work with the credit microcredentials, which we'll talk more about. So we're going to go over some things quickly because we only have until 9:50, but if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to interrupt. I won't be able to see too much with the screen in the chat, but let me know if there's any questions. So we can go ahead and get started with the next slide about what microcredentials are and why they are important. So just to give you a small definition, and I know some of you on the call may be familiar with this, but they verify, validate, and attest that specific skills and or competencies have been achieved and are endorsed by the issuing institution, which in this case would be us. And so they've gone through some type of governance process, and then they set criteria that are designed to be meaningful and high quality. So what's different about a microcredential versus like a minor or a major or a certification is that they are generally offered in a shorter and more flexible time span. So they're less than a minor, they're narrowly focused, and the biggest part of this is that they are really focused in the industry. So what's really the area that we are helping people that are creating these microcredentials on campus is that we're working with our industry members and partners for them to say to us, yes, this is valid and this needs to happen. And people need to learn these things in order to really upskill and reskill their professional development. So you'll see here on the slide on the left is kind of what they are, what microcredentials are. And then why they're important is on the right-hand side, which is really important to be aware of because it does allow students to stay motivated. It allows people that maybe have stopped out to come back and really dip their toe back in the water of education. The goal too is that these are stackable. So not only do they want to finish their microcredential with us, which may be 1 to 5 classes, let's say, and then really stay. So those classes could be stacked into a major. So IPS, the Integrated Professional Studies, that has stackable microcredentials within it. And that's a big goal for us, is to continue to build. So our students will stay with us and persist to a matriculated degree. So we can go to the next slide just in sake of time. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to unmute and interrupt me. So types of microcredentials, there's 2 bigger pieces or 2 parts to microcredentials that we focus on. There's the non-credit or the credit. And so I work with credit-bearing microcredentials, and Robin works with non-credit. So essentially what we do is we assist you, if you have an idea, we assist you in developing what it should look like. Should it be credit-bearing? Should it be non-credit? Some students that are currently matriculated at Oswego, a credit-bearing microcredential is perfect for them. They're already earning credit. It layers right into their program. Or maybe they take a couple extra classes on top of their major. But someone that wants to come back, that wants to upskill in their professional development, that has a job, they're not interested in doing a full degree, they may want a non-credit microcredential and not worry about acquiring those college credits. So the cost will be different. And Robin and I really work to assist with that. And Lisa works with us in the terms of the Syracuse campus. So promoting a more high flex hybrid type atmosphere to these, so that if we can use the main campus, the Syracuse campus, or online modalities, we can do that between the 3 of us. They can be undergraduate microcredentials or graduate level. So we do have a graduate level microcredential in place right now. We have several undergraduate credit and non-credit as well. And so really many people, when they hear about micro-credentials, the first thing that comes up is like licensure or certificates. And so those can count as micro-credentials. The massive open online courses is a big discussion point now, and a lot of people are taking advantage of those, where many are free. We obviously, people would pay to take part in our micro-credentials. However, they're going to get a lot more support. They're going to get a lot more introspection into the terms of why the micro-credential was built and developed for them. And of course, if they're accessing a micro-credential, they can access career services, they can access their advisor. So there's a lot of ways that we can give them a lot more in their micro-credential than others may be able to. So you'll see here, recognized by certain industries. That's the biggest component. Part of the process is getting 3 letters of testimony, essentially, as to why the micro-credentials should exist from our industry partners, because we want to focus there. Highlighting competencies with a credit program, be an introduction or an entry point. So we are currently working with alumni in the community engagement to really get people to campus or back to campus if they've stopped out. And this is a great way to do that. They can be standalone credentials or aligned with a degree, like I mentioned earlier. And again, meeting market needs and industry standards. So if you're hearing employers say this is what we need and it's not happening, that's a really great place that we can start building a micro-credential in that space. So we can go to the next slide. And Lisa, do you want to click on that link and we can kind of talk about what we currently have? I don't see any questions. So our micro-credentials have been building. We built a website. That was the first big step as we launched these. And if you click on, so you'll see as the page breaks down, there's micro-credential programs, graduate level, there's skill level, which are really focused in one key area. Competency is a culmination of those skills built together. And so we've been working with Oswego Business Community Relations Office to build some things that were already in place. And so, you know, if you're thinking about starting a micro-credential, looking at what you're already doing is a great place to start, and building out with some a group of classes that you might have already been involved with, or an area where you know that there's a gap that we can fill with our current courses. That's a great place to start. So if you click on the page, like the view micro-credential, let's say digital media and communication design, Lisa. We've broken it down so the potential student can see everything. First, they can see the badge, which we'll talk more about in a minute. There's the definition of what this is, who's eligible, how it's provided, the courses that are involved, and then of course applying, which is a simple process. And so when it comes to that, we work with each person that's developing these about what they're looking for in the application process. And I'm happy to talk more about that. But that's really our page that's housing each one as it's approved through governance. And so we're excited to keep building on that. But if we want to go back to our slide, we can go to the next. Any questions about the website? I'm happy to put it in the link as well. So steps. So I kind of break these down into 3 sections, if you will. The development aspect, then the approval process, and then after that, the enrollment. So the first part is really discussing, really talking with us. People reach out to Jill Pippin, who's the Dean of Extended Learning, because she was really the founding member and within SUNY working to get micro-credentials going. So she's an expert in the field. She knows a lot of the ins and outs of what we're looking for, but a lot of times she'll also refer people out to Robin or myself and Lisa to really start talking more closely about what people are looking for. Do you want it to be credit bearing? Are you thinking not? Do you have an idea for something, but you're not really sure if it actually counts as a micro-credential, or is it maybe more of a program? So really weighing out all of those options for you and helping you develop so you're not trying to figure it out on your own. If we decide that it is a micro-credential and we want to make it happen, we have packets that we've completed and started up, which basically is an application. You have to include 3 testimonials, and then you get your signatures from chair, dean. If it's a co-sponsored micro-credential, you would go to multiple deans of each school. So if it's a graduate level micro-credential, you would go to Kristen Eichhorn, but then you'd also go to the dean of the school that the program is housed in. And so you get those signatures, and then we review everything, make sure it looks great and it's finished up. And then we let you know that, okay, now it's time to send off to governance. So if it's credit bearing, it would have to go through a more lengthy process than a non-credit micro-credential. Credit-bearing micro-credentials will go to APC, and then PNP if they're undergraduate, and then FA. If it's graduate, they would go to graduate council and then move along through that same process after that. So then the packet is moved along up the chain of command. And then once the president has signed off or the officer in charge has signed off, the packet is then returned and chairs are notified, extended learning is notified. And that's really when we start working more closely again with that sponsoring faculty member or staff member to work on more of those details that comes to the enrollment aspect. So we'll talk about what you want on the website, what terminology we should use that will be appealing to the audience. How we want to market the description, things like that. Tim Taylor works with us on creating badges. And so we'll go over what those look like, but we design a badge that's all in theme of Oswego, but looks a little bit different depending on what type of micro-credential it is. And then we get that up and running. We get that through Credly is what we use that. And that's where the portfolio sits essentially. And then enrollment specific. So that's when I work with the sponsoring faculty, and Robin works as well to design the application process. It can be as simple as name, ID number, and major. And then for like grade analysis is an academic based micro-credential. I go through, I work with the people involved in that department. I see that they meet those criteria. I approve them in Slate. Banners then notified. So there's a whole process behind this of getting them enrolled so that they are tagged as that type of micro-credential student along with their major and or minor, those types of things. So we go through all those enrollment specifics. And again, you know, we're here to support you as you let us know what you're looking to have it look like. And then we work going forward. So we've decided every 3 years, we'll reach back out for any updates, edits, anything that needs to be changed, if not sooner. But we're, you know, as these have developed and the professional side of things of having Robin and I really understanding what to do with these and Lisa supporting us, we're really building kind of a really nice flow to get these moving along for approval and then execution. So I think the next slide is the badges, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so the badging, and a lot of times when micro-credentials first started, badging was what everyone knew it as, you know, a badge, you get a badge. These are visual representations of a mastery of a specific skill or a set of skills. So if it's a skill micro-credential, it would look like an innovation challenge. And then if it's a little bit more than that, like a competency micro-credential or credit bearing, anything like that, then it would look a little bit different. So grain testing and analysis, interaction design, those are both credit bearing micro-credentials. So you can click on the icon. And so what I really appreciate about this is that our students are taught how to market themselves, right? Through their resume, their interviewing skills, but this also supports them by giving the employer or the graduate office or anything like that, the ability to actually click on these things and dig deeper so that we're helping support what the student is saying about their experiences by way of our institutional approval of these specific words that they're using in their interview or on their resume. We're really vouching that this is a legitimate thing for the student that has done the work. So you can click on the badge and it'll basically bring up a portfolio of what we've created with the sponsoring faculty. So it's really nice because once a student has completed the badge or the micro-credential, we then go into Credly, we approve them, we send them the badge, and it's up to them if they want to click on it or not and use it in their LinkedIn, use it in their digital resume, you know, things like that. So it's just more examples of why they should be hired. more examples of why they should get that promotion, those different types of things. So that really is kind of what we wanted to share today, and really just give more insight so that we could have more conversations, individually or with your department. Rob and Lisa and I are more than happy to come to departments, to have meetings. We've been meeting with people on Zoom during winter break, asking questions, getting ideas, giving ideas, saying, hey, we saw that on the catalog, these are some classes listed in your major. Maybe would you want to try to pull those together? Or development of a new microcredential that's non-credit. So we've been working with our colleagues across campus to develop these and brainstorm, all for the benefit of both the student and Oswego. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to open the floor. And if I can answer them, I will, or Robin for non-credit, or if we can't answer them, then we will write a note for Jill. Did I cover everything, Lisa, Robin, anything?
I think you covered everything really well.
Okay.
Just mention we've got a couple of working groups formed on campus, across campus, so that this process initiates with conversations in extended learning. But once the forms are submitted and the ball is rolling, there are a couple of groups that will can be consulted. One is a development task force, which is a group that has representation from multiple offices and areas on campus to kind of help brainstorm the design of the microcredential, the learning outcomes, the targeted audience, the marketing strategy, all of those pieces. And once those ideas are in place and we're ready to move to the next stage, the conversations about data tracking, enrollment, the behind the scenes system pieces where how are these students enrolled and managed from the tracking point of view, that's the operations task force. So registrar's office, CTS, other offices on campus that would be relevant for those types of conversations are involved at that stage. And then we have what we call the advisory council, who are the higher level representatives on campus who at that level would oversee the quality and the relevance of the microcredential in the bigger picture. So we have all that pulled together and poised and ready. So as people come forward with ideas, we're ready to roll.
We also have a website being developed where it'll house all the flow charts, the forms, and that will be behind the LakerNet ID. So, everyone, it's a private network kind of thing. So people can readily view and also obtain documents as they see fit. If they want to take a piece to their department meeting to bring up as support, as a first step, it'll be there. So we'll slowly be getting that up in public soon, but that's in the works as well. So yeah, any questions after that? Well, we're easy enough to find. So if you think of anything, just shoot us an email and we'd be happy to chat further with you about your ideas.
Thank you for coming today. It's nice to see you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Have a good one.